All right, what's up, guys? So a couple of you asked for this. I'm just going to tell you that I'm about to do a fully process of deer right here. I'll break it down into a couple different videos. So if you're squeamish, snowflake, you might not want to watch this. All right, ready? I'm going to give you a second to turn it off. Ready? Go. All right, you stayed with me. That means you're not a snowflake. All right, so my daughter shot this mule deer this morning. We have not gutted this deer yet because we were able to shoot it and it was close enough that we could put it in the truck and drive it back here to the shop and start working on it. If you have the ability to do that, it's great. If not, I would do it in the field. Today I'm going to use a Lifesupport knife. It's their SO3, I think that's what it is. It's a 6-inch blade 01 tool steel. Now, I had this knife for a week, I think. This will be the second deer I've done with it. I'm using an F-Dick smooth steel for it. And look, if you can see this, I already started to rust this knife. And I did that based on the fact that it's 01 tool steel. And I let it set overnight in the sink. So this is my fault. So I'm gonna have to polish this back out. But I chose 01 tool steel for this reason, okay? One, it rusts, that's dangerous. It's not actually a rust, it's kind of like a black powder. But two, whenever I hit it to the steel, it gets sharp again very, very fast, okay? The heat treat on this knife is very good. So when I hit my knife to a steel, I'm making sure that I lift up, right? And if you ever watch me do this steel, I'm never working my steel. I never work my steel fast, like where you see guys that are like chop, chop, chop. No, that's not how you do it. You actually have to stay on this edge and lift up as you come to the tip. And there's actually an exact way to work a steel, just like you would any other thing, knife sharpener. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this, and let's go through this deer. So, like I said, usually I would gut him in the field. Right now, I was lucky enough that we didn't have to gut him in the field. So one of the things whenever I don't have to gut him in the field, what I don't want to do right now is poke their guts. My daughter made a really good shot on this deer and shot him in the neck, a little high in the neck. And so we didn't have to, we didn't hit him in any meat. We didn't damage any meat. And so what I want to do is I want to start right around here, and I always want to try to keep my knife where instead of cutting down on the deer, although you have to cut that first one down, I want to be able to turn my knife and cut back where I'm cutting under the skin so that I'm not having to, I'm not running it across his hide the whole time. So if you can, especially in this area, you got to be really careful whenever you haven't already gutted him. If you have already gutted him, you don't have to be careful like this. But so what I do is I take the knife, I just slowly move it down, and do what I can not to puncture this, because once you puncture this, it gets stinky fast. And if I do it this way where I didn't gut him and I can hang him up, it makes it really, really clean. It makes cleaning the meat easy. I'm pretty picky about my deer meat. So, I like to have it really, really clean like this. Sometimes when you're gutting them in the field, you'll end up, sometimes when you're gutting them in the field, they end up getting a lot of dirt. I mean, we live in a really sandy area, so they get a lot of dirt all over them, and that kind of stinks. So I want to be really careful with this so that I don't get any urine on the meat. So I just come through here, and I just slowly work my way down and around. You don't have to be fast with this. That's the important part, is you don't have to be fast with it. All right, so something else I want to tell you. There are a lot of ways to be able to, as a matter of fact, thank you, Briar, let me see that. There are a lot of ways to be able to clean a deer. What I do is, we have been cleaning deer this way for 30 years. So I clean the deer the way that my grandfather and my dad did. My dad still does, and I'm just going on with what works for me and my family. There are lots of different cuts on animals. Like you can break him into the sirloin, you can choose to grind him up into hamburger, you can choose to, cut him into steaks, cut the rump roast into steaks. There are lots of different things you can do. So the way that I'm doing it may not be the way that you do it, but the way I'm doing it does work. Also, in a without rule of law situation, post SHTF, this is something that really always is on my mind of how many people will shoot an animal and not know how to fully utilize that animal, and that animal go to waste because of that. And not for the animal's sake, but for the human's sake, right? You just, you're in a survival situation, maybe the balloon has just gone up, you shoot a deer, you take a couple pieces off and you think he's no good anymore. That's not the case. So this series is going to talk about all of that, okay? All right, so let me continue on right here. So I don't know if you can see in here, but whenever you're skinning a deer, a lot of times, any animal, you can just reach in after you get this first layer, and you can just kind of stick your hand in and push a lot of this like membrane out of the way, which makes it where it's easier to, you don't have to make a knife slice every time, and you don't have to worry about your knife slicing through. So you can see this Lifesupport 01 tool steel is still really, really sharp. And like I said, I kind of like for my 01 tool steel knives to go totally gray. I've done that on all of them. I've had several knives from Dave Canterbury. I'm kind of a knife junkie, and I've had several of these knives, and I like for them to go all gray. And this one started it soon. There was actually, when I was younger, I would actually leave the knife outside so that it would go gray faster. But anyway, so that I'm kind of partial to carbon steel for reasons like that. And then also other reasons where when you feel a knife, you see people and they do this and they think that this is how you tell if a knife is sharp. It's not. You feel if it has the edge, if the edge is rolled to one side or the other. So when I feel a small little edge roll in it, I come back, and what you're doing is that knife, if it's like this, the edge rolls to one way or the other, okay? And whenever you take that edge back off, it comes back. And then as you cut with it, the edge will roll, and then you come back and take that off. And that's what the purpose of a steel is straightening that edge back out. So that's why it only takes 3 or 4 hits on the steel, but you've got to make sure that you're holding your knife correctly the entire time on a steel. And then also, when I'm on hot meat, I don't know if you saw my last video, but when I'm on hot meat, I use this, it's like a plain steel. If I'm on cold meat, I use this other steel, and it has grooves in it. I don't know if y'all can see the difference in that. So hot meat, cold meat, there is a difference in the steels. And like I said, these are F. Dick steels. They're very good steels. I like them a lot. All right, let's keep on going here. So now, there are some guys who are extremely fast at processing deer, skinning deer, elk. Me, overall, I'm not one of them. I probably do 10 or 12 a year. And I'm it's never gonna be my profession. This is actually something that I enjoy doing. Sounds kind of weird, but I actually enjoy doing this. It's what I consider part of the hunting experience. So now if you can see right here, I just put my knife in and I'm able to run the tip right up the skin. So what I'm doing is I'm not having to cut through the skin and dull my knife even more. So anytime you can stay on the inside of the skin, the better off you are, because an animal is, they're dirty. They've got dirt on them. They've got, just a lifetime of they're dirty. So when you cut through that, you're also cutting through like sand and dirt and And so that's why it damages your edge. That's why I'm always trying to be as careful as I can with my edge.
You're at 10 minutes.
I just was informed I'm at 10 minutes. I'm gonna go just a little bit longer. And so it probably takes, you know, I've seen guys on YouTube being able to skin a deer in like 2 minutes. I'm not that guy. I have done this very same thing right here that you're looking at. I've done this very same thing in the field on the ground. So my brothers and I do some backpack hunting, or sometimes we walk way back in and we end up shooting a deer or an elk extremely far into the woods. And so when I do that, I always make sure that I bone it all the way out. One time, there was 4 of us, and my brother went in and shot an elk like 5 miles back, and it starts raining on us as we're starting to get him out, and we got a stick and we put 2 quarters on the stick, and 2 of us would take turns carrying it, and it eventually got so slick that we would pitch the elk down the mountain, we would slide down the mountain, and then we'd pick it back up, and we'd have to ladder ourselves back up and then ladder the elk back up. So we've been in some sticky situations, and what I learned is it's better when you're out there in those sticky situations to go ahead and bone the deer out or the elk out on the ground. And like I said, everything that I'm doing here you could do on the ground. What I would do is I lay him sideways, and I'll work one side completely, bone him out, and then flip him over, and then work the other side completely. But so, see, that's what I didn't want to do, is hit his stomach, but I did. You know, it's good to show your mistakes on YouTube too, isn't it?
That really scared me.
That scared
You cut yourself.
No, I didn't cut myself. All right, so see, I cut just a little too far in and hit his stomach right there. I still didn't split his stomach to where it's coming out. I just popped that air bubble. And so anyway, I'm gonna keep going down right here.
Ooh, it stinks.
Yeah, it does stink. I'm gonna keep going down right here. And like come look right here, Hyde. As I come around right here, you can see how it just peels off of the meat right here, okay? All right, now, I have been talking to you for like 10 or 12 minutes, and in talking, I haven't been focusing to get this done as fast as I can. So what I'm gonna do is, I think you've seen how I've done this, right? If you have any more questions, let me know. But basically, you cut around and you cut down the leg. You start skinning him, same thing on the bottom, down and around the leg, and start skinning him, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the video here. I'm gonna skin him all the way, and when I get to after I get to the skin part and I get to the gut part, I'll come back and we'll talk again, okay guys? Ponder on it.